I promise.
We'll show what
I will
so
see
go,
you in
come
there,
with
so.
me.
Come with you. Here's my.
Turns 80 in November this year, and it is 50 years.
I'm going to read the first page. The Testament has 3 narrators, and this one is a very special personage. The Ardua Hall holograph. Only dead people are allowed to have statues, but I have been given one while still alive. Already I am petrified. This statue was a small token of appreciation for my many contributions, said the citation, which was read out by Aunt Vidala. She'd been assigned the task by our superiors and was far from appreciative. I thanked her with as much modesty as I could summon, then pulled the rope that released the cloth drape shrouding me. It billowed to the ground, and there I stood. We don't do cheering here at Ardua Hall, but there was some discreet clapping. I inclined my head, and they nodded.
From Globe Mail in Toronto.
Where are you?
I'm right here.
You're right there, okay.
And what's your name? Sorry.
It's Paul Walton.
Well, considering the lives that rock stars lead, I'm hoping.
You made it to almost 80.
I know, I haven't yet, died of an opiate overdose. Not yet. There's time. Yes, I think that this kind of thing could be quite ruinous for a 35-year-old, because where do you go from there? In my case, we kind of know the answer. We know the plot. So am I overwhelmed by it? I'm very pleased and grateful to the readers who have stuck with me for all these years, and to the teams of people, both here and in the US and Canada, the people who have been working an amazing number of hours putting it all together and trying to keep the lid on, because there were concerted efforts to try to steal the manuscript, which would have been used, I'm told, for fishing expeditions in which download the Testaments and you click on it, you do the fatal click on the link, and then you get malware in your computer, and all your information is in the hands of people who steal your identity. So that did not happen, so far as we know, but not for lack of trying. There were lots of phony emails sent trying to winkle even just 3 pages, even just anything out of people who had the manuscript, but they held firm.
Didn't steal your copy, but I got a German press copy already, and and I think the Testaments.
The question was, I thinking about it? I was thinking about it in the 90s, but thinking we're moving away from it. Next thing that happens is 9/11, and that changes the chessboard. Everything. That's when we started having to go through security at airports. You may not remember this if you're young, but once upon a time there was no security. You just ran onto the plane. No problem. What's your problem? So that's when all of that happened, and we became much more, I would say, fearful, inward-looking. I'm going on too long. She's making signs to me.
I am.
She's frowning.
Just so you know.
Yeah, so like that. And then I started thinking about it again. And then I started thinking about it more after 2008, when, as you'll recall, we had the world financial meltdown. And things always get squirrely around those times. And then I started thinking about it even more in the run-up to the 2016 election. because I was brought up under Marshall McLuhan and I know the power of certain kinds of media.
And here we
Donald
are.
Trump has a very persuasive television
He is
presence.
very
He
persuasive.
should be selling, Buckley's cough mixture or something to clean up.
Would that work so? Well,
Lineouts and the reaction at midnight last night of The Guardian today said it was a bit of Harry Potter madness.
So Bruce Miller and I have been in community. We talk on the phone in unlikely locations. I had an important conversation with him on the street outside a shop called BB Buggy. I was there buying kid stuff. So we talk on the phone. I read the scripts, I make notes on them. I don't have any actual power. I have, quotes, influence. I have influence, which is not quite
that's
the
the
same.
real power.
You think, not always. So in my Thomas Cromwell position vis-a-vis the show, I have influence but no actual power. But luckily we are in accord most of the time. And when I said, you can't kill that person, he said, well, I wasn't going to anyway. And when I said, hands off that baby, he said, oh, okay.
There's a gentleman sitting in the middle here, and a woman over here.
So that started in Texas. This wave of it started in Texas. It had been around as a thing that people dressed up as from time to time, but this wave of it started in Texas, where an all-male legislature group was bringing in more laws about women's bodies. And the scene looks like a shot straight from the TV series. You could interchange them. So it's brilliant as a protest tactic because you're not making a disturbance. You're not saying anything. You're sitting very silently and modestly, and you can't be kicked out for dressing inappropriately because you're all covered up. No bare shoulders. No frightful bare shoulders.
Printed disabled listeners, like many print disabled readers, where to...
It's if you look at the legislative moves made by a number of different states within the United States, you can see that some of them are almost there. But what these restrictive laws about women's bodies are claiming is that the state owns your body. There is a parallel occasion for men, and that would be the draft. So the draft or conscription, in which the state says this body is going to go into the war, but when they do that, they pay for your clothing, lodging, food, medical expenses, and they give you a salary. So I say unto them, if you want to conscript women's bodies in this way, you should pay for it. As it is, you're forcing women to deliver babies. It's enforced childbirth, and you're not paying for any of it. I think that's very cheap.
Among other things.
Among other things. It's cheap labor, and that's a pun.
But do you see the sort of second part of the question, the testaments having a kind of relationship?
I think it enters into a conversation that's already taking place, because the Handmaid's Tale has been a meme in these kinds of conversations for years. It was in the 2008 election, it was in the 2012 election, and it certainly was in the 2016 election. But for a society that claims to value individual freedom, I would say to them, evidently you don't think this individual freedom extends to women.
Worldwide today by Vintage, and you can collect a copy as well as your press back on your way out down.